One of the most popular series in the Pokemon anime is definitely the XY series, and while part of this is due to the amazing battles, there's also a lot of it due to the character of Serena and her amazing development throughout the series. And I have to agree, I loved her development throughout the series with the showcases, but I honestly can't help but feel that her development was held back because of Pokemon showcases. And honestly, I feel like she would have done better if her development was through contests. So I asked on Twitter what you guys thought, and the majority of people agreed that they would have preferred if Serena did contests. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how Serena's journey could have been changed if she did contests instead. Well, first of all, I should probably explain why I don't really like Pokemon showcases, and there are a couple reasons, and the first one I'll say is because of the first round of showcases. It was always different depending on the showcase, and because of that, it felt very inconsistent, and it got to the point where in the final Master Class, they just got rid of that first round. They just retconned it out because even the Raiders thought it was bad. So I feel like contests would be better because both rounds of contests were actually enjoyable and consistent. And another reason I'm not a big fan of showcases is because of how the winners were decided. It was done by crowd voting, which was basically rigged. If you look at the Master Class, it's pretty easy to see that Serena's performance was much better than Arya's, but Arya's still won because of the crowd's biased voting. With a contest, there are certain judges, and there won't be biased voting involved. Now, another thing I want to bring up is that some people think that they did showcases because contests weren't in the X and Y games, so it would be false advertising. And to that I say, well, showcases weren't in the games either, and contests were in ORAS, so having contests in the anime actually makes more sense than having showcases as far as promoting the games goes. And then there's also the characters of Arya and Palermo, and both of them are kind of made for these showcases, but I do think they could be very easily rewritten to work in contests instead. So now I will start to actually rewrite Pokemon XY if Serena was doing contests, and first I will start with the character of Arya, and for her, I think she would be a top coordinator, but from what we know in the anime, you only become top coordinator from the year you do contests in, and it seems like there's a new top coordinator every year. So for Arya, I'll have her re-enter contests to defend her top coordinator title. She would have to gain 5 more ribbons and still win the Grand Festival to uphold her title. For the character of Palermo, she would be very similar to how she already was. She would have been a top coordinator in the past and would have trained Arya and would offer to train Serena. I also want to say that I think Serena's character development of learning that she wants to inspire and help people as the Kalos Queen would work fine in contests. I would have Arya be somewhat of a celebrity figure, and Serena would aspire to be just like Arya, and have the same development, just in contests instead of showcases. Now onto the actual contests, which are just the showcases, but changed to be contests, and we will start with the Kumarine Contest. And in the original, Fennekin falls while dancing, which costs Serena the performance. So in the contest version, Fennekin would fall and trip during the first round, the performance round, and lose the contest. Next up would be the Dendemil Contest, and Serena would win this by defeating Miette in the finals. Next up would be the Anastar Contest, and in this one Serena would win by defeating Shauna in the finals. Next up is the Corway Contest, and back when this was a showcase, Serena lost because Eevee tripped and fell in the performance. So for the contest, Serena would get to the final round, but in the battle, Eevee would trip and fall, causing it to be very open to attacks. Because of this, her opponent, who is Jessie and her Gourgeist, would be able to do a point-blank Seed Bomb right onto Eevee and easily defeat Eevee, cause Serena to lose a ton of points, and make Jessie the winner of the contest. And finally would be the Fleur Contest, and in this one, Serena would win by defeating Amelia in the finals. So that's me turning every showcase into a contest, and with that Serena would have 3 ribbons, but contests require 5, not 3. So for her other 2 ribbons, I would have a contest where she defeats Nini, and one where she defeats Jessie. I also think that the double battle between Serena and Arya should be its own contest, where Serena loses to Arya, but Fennekin evolves into Braixen in the process. Next up would be the Grand Festival, and I will be taking some inspiration from the Masterclass, but I'm kind of making this its own thing, and I'm going to be modeling it after the Sinnoh Grand Festival. It's going to be 4 episodes just like the Sinnoh Grand Festival, and I'm doing this just because I think the Sinnoh Grand Festival was the best Grand Festival arc in the anime. First up is Episode 1, and this will be solely dedicated to everyone's performances. And I do think that Nini would not pass this round because I feel like one character should not pass since there are so many rivals, and Nini kinda seems like the worst of all of them. Sorry Nini fans. Every other competitor we know of would pass this round, and Serena would pass by putting on the same performance we saw in the finals of the Masterclass. Maybe I would get rid of Pancham, or they would allow 3 Pokemon, but it would be very similar to the performance from the Masters class. Next up is going to be Episode 2, and there would be 2 battles. The main one would be Serena versus Miette, where Serena does defeat Miette, and then there would also be a rival battle, Shauna versus Jessie, where Shauna defeats Jessie. Episode 3 would then be the semi-finals of the Grand Festival, and this would be where Serena battles Shauna, and Serena would come out on top and defeat Shauna. Episode 4 would then be the finals, which would be Serena versus Arya, and I do think that Arya would win just like the original Master Class, because Arya just has more skill, but Serena would not go down without a fight, and it would be a very great battle, very similar to Dawn versus Zoe. And at the end of that all, Serena would go to Kanto with Ash, but then they would part ways. Serena would go and do Kanto contests, while Ash goes on to Alola. And that's it. That's what I think the XY anime could have been like if Serena did contests instead of showcases. And honestly, I think I prefer my version to what we actually got. So let me know what you think in the contest. Do you think Serena still should have done showcases, or did you prefer my version? And if you do think she should have done contests, let me know what you would have changed as well. If you like this video, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in my next video.